This video will go through a demo step by step of the RNS, repetitive nerve stimulation, to run the test. It's an overview following the Cadwell Sierra Summit defaults. These are just suggested steps to use the RNS software, but you will need to follow your facility or lab RNS protocol. For more setting options, refer to the help files within the Sierra Summit program. By clicking in the top left, you can click Help, Help Topics. Then in the search bar, you can type in RNS, enter, and the whole list will come up down here. It's a very detailed overview of all the items that you can use inside the software for the RNS. So the first thing you want to do is start a new patient. So in the bottom left, you're going to click on New Patient, and you'll type in the patient information. And then in the bottom right, click New Study. The Navigator window will open up. It usually defaults to the Studies tab. I'll have you go ahead and click on the All Tests tab and select RNS in the yellow box. And over in the pink box, you're going to want to select the muscle that you want to stim. I'm going to choose the abductor digiti minimi. And then down at the bottom, make sure you select the correct side that you want to start with, and then click OK. And then double checking you are on the correct side up here at the top left. I also want to draw your attention to the bottom. The F keys are very helpful to use during your RNS stim. For example, F1 is either a train of stim or a single stim, so whichever one is bolded is the one that's going to run. The timer is up here in the right-hand corner. There's a timer and then a timer post-exercise. If you ever want to reset that timer, you can just click Reset Timer. Clear All will clear everything in the window. Swap sides is the same as changing left to right. Auto sequence is helpful if you want it to run in an auto sequence. So when you click on this, it's bolded, and now it's going to run the way it's been programmed here. For example, the baseline, you'll stim that, and in 30 seconds, it'll drop down and start running the post-exercise. So you would do your baseline, then you would exercise the muscle, then it'll automatically in 1 minute start, and so forth. If you want to run it manually, you can click on auto sequence again so it's not bolded, and then you can decide when you move from section to section. And then spread and overlay, we can review that later. Basically, spread is when all the traces go one after another, and overlay puts them all on top of each other so you can see what they look like superimposed. I have selected the abductor digiti minimi, so I have my disposable ground at the base of my wrist on the same side that I'm stimming the extremity. My negative black cathode electro is on the belly of the ADM, and my reference is on my digit 5, the pinky finger, and also plugged into the positive in the amplifier. I'm using Spectra 360 electrode gel, and make sure whatever gel you're using, it is manufactured to use for nerve conduction studies, and it is a conductive gel. Sometimes people use ultrasound gel, and it's not always conductive, and that can cause issues with artifact. First thing we want to do is get our baseline. And I want to get a baseline using the single stim, not the train. So in the bottom left, F1, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to bold single. So up here, it also says single. I'm going to turn the cogwheel on my stimtroller up a little bit and place my stimtroller on the ulnar nerve. And I'm going to find my supramaximal. Oh, let me go up a little more. Oh, still growing. Oh, still growing. Good. So I'm going to keep it about right there. And as you'll note, it kind of stops itself here. I'm going to change my milliseconds per division, my sweep up here at the top. I'm going to change that to 5 for this muscle. And then it helps spread out the base of the waveform, and you can see the morphology a little bit better. So 35 milliamps is supramaximal. All I need to do now is click on F1 train. It's going to keep my intensity the same, and it's going to stay in that baseline column at the top, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to place my stimtroller probes back on my ulnar nerve, and I'm going to click the stim button on my stimtroller, and it's going to automatically stim a train of 10. Now you'll notice that once it's done, it's got the graph over here, and this is the amplitude. It also has all the numbers and data here. So the difference in amplitude is going to be in this column here. So this is our baseline. It looks pretty good. You'll also notice that the timer is running. It automatically starts running. So you would probably exercise the patient for 30 seconds. I'm a little delayed on my exercising here. Ulnar nerve, and click the stim button. And it went ahead and it stimmed the second trial post-exercise. As you can see, the timer starts over again. They got the timer and the post-exercise timer. And I'm just going to move through this quickly, and all I have to do now is hit the stim button. It's going to automatically stim again. And you can see how this is working now. What's happening is here's our baseline, was our first one in blue. Then the second one is in green, and the third one is in red. So this trial here resembles this first trial here. You'll want to make sure that you have your cursors set the way you want them. If you want to see the percent decrement or percent change, that would be over here in the amplitude percent difference. If I click on spread or overlay down here at the bottom, F6, so this is the overlay, and then this is spread. Again, if I want to manually reset my timer for some reason, it's up here running, I'm going to click F2 reset timer, and that's going to reset the first timer, but the percentage or the timer post-exercise is going to continue to run. You'll note in the RNS table tab right here, this is the way the default is set. So amplitude 1 and amplitude 5, it's taking a measurement of the first trial of each one. So trial 1 and then trial 5. That's pretty common. You can change this to whatever you would like. And in fact, you can edit all of these items by going into Edit, Current Test. And then it's going to open up this window, and you have all of your amplifier settings, which some of them you can change while you're on the fly in the test window itself. OK. If you wanted to save that for the future, you would say Edit, Save Test Parameters, and then once you're all finished with the test, you'll do File, Update CAD-Link Preserve if you're using CAD-Link Preserve, or you would do File, Preserve. And I'll show you that at the end. Let's go into Tab Data and the icon at the top. This gives it a little different display, the way you may want to look at it. You can add your impression in here. And then in order to generate a report, you can, for example, press F2 Reports menu. And then I'm going to choose Full Report with Sentence Gen. And so that's going to give me a full report with anything I test, whether it's nerve conduction, EMG, RNS. It's going to show up in this report. This is sort of a catch-all report. And this will give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So you'll have your tables up here, and you'll have each each display here, and then you'll have your waveforms here. And then you would click Finish and Yes to save that to the database. And you could click Close. And if you want to look at each trial, you can click over here. There's trial 1, and you'll note that it's over here on the baseline. And then if you want to check trial 2 and trial 3. Now that we're all finished with the test, we're going to click on the Home button at the top of the screen, which saves the study. And we're going to go back to our home screen. And it's uploading because I'm using CADLink database. It's saving that to the database. We'll just give it a second to finish. And then I would click on File, Update CADLink Preserve File. And if I click Yes, it's going to replace my existing preserve, which is what I want to do because I made some changes. If I'm not using a CADLink preserve file, and the way you can tell that is in the bottom right-hand side, my current user is admin, but I am using my own preserve file right here. If you were just using local settings, you would probably have admin here, and then your preserve file would have a blank after it. So therefore, when you click File, you wouldn't have the option to select Update CADLink Preserve. You would just click Preserve, and then it would automatically save in here, and you click Save. If you want to double check if your setting's saved, go in and click Edit, Test Protocols. And this is something you can do on any modality. We're going to look for RNS. And everything here is the way we left it. And we're going to click OK, or we're going to click Cancel. And that's basically a rough overview of an RNS test.